Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 10, Episode 2. I am way ahead of myself. We're already halfway through the season. Episode number 2, complete recap. Super excited to be hanging out with you guys tonight. Hopefully you had a good Monday. Enjoyed the show last night. Enjoyed Talking Dead. We got a lot of good stuff to recap tonight. We're going to talk about some... I guess we'll delve into some bold predictions as well. Before we get into it, let me give a shout out to the Patreon Army. Can you guys do me a favor? Just a shout out to all the patrons. They do such a great job. Tremendous supporters of this channel for a long, long time. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. And what is going on Friday night, everybody? Hold on just a minute. I want you guys to think about that. Zelda Faz in the house. Episode 1, 7.8. Episode 2, 9.9. Wow, that's some high praise. Thank you for that super chat, Zelda. But 9.9, I love it. I had episode 1 rated a little bit higher, but you know, I'm kind of bandwagonish from time to time. But do love to see people with these, whatever we call them, filler bottle episodes. What I didn't really even consider it a filler or bottle episode because I think they did a good job of shifting back and forth. So Friday night we got a pretty special PDL going on. We're calling it King of the Hill. If you guys like PDL, give this video a thumbs up. You're going to hang out with us on Friday. It's going to be a brand new wrinkle to PvP. Remind me, and later on in tonight's episode, I will discuss it if you guys want to. If you guys want to know a little bit about what's going on with that and how we're going to play it on Friday night, going to be looking for some energetic, enthusiastic people that are that want to win. So hopefully that's you, and more importantly, want to have a good time. So let's talk a little bit about the show. We've done spoilers on Saturday because we got the chance to watch it earlier. We did a reaction last night. So this is kind of the third time I've been touching on some of these topics. And I feel like each time we uncover something just a little bit more exciting. We found out last night on Talking Dead that, you know, the Beta story that's Beta's friend. So we didn't know who it was in the beginning. And I'm glad we're getting a few of those answers. I know a lot of people want to know about the mask. And we're going to talk about that. But let's start out with how the episode began. Creepy enough for you guys? What'd you guys think? The first 2 minutes of the episode, just watching this complete stranger get devoured, and what was the significance of that? Was it just to show the gore is back, or was it to tie into Alpha in some way that, you know, people escaping, you know, she's alone, any connection with Beta? Am I looking too much into it? Gordon, I would say the show is always a masterpiece, but keep it a little bit more appropriate. Gordon, I love the point, but we'll keep it with a little bit less of the language. But yeah, Gordon's point was the show was a masterpiece after Fear, especially the way Fear ended. Not a big fan of the writing of Fear this season. Have a lot of respect for, you know, all the actors and the people that work hard for the show. Just didn't think it came together the right way. So let me, I don't want to make this all about bashing Fear, although I know there's some passion around Fear. But the gore in the very beginning, and we know that this is is it safe? Is it an addiction clinic? Is that what we're going to go with? I know in the picture of Beta and his friend, it was in front of an addiction clinic, and I'm assuming it's here. Would you guys agree with that? Dude, Gordon, I mean, if you don't like the format, then don't hang out with us. I mean, we're not going to make this all about whether or not you can drop F-bombs all through the stream. I mean, the moderator made a point. You either want to get involved with it or you don't, but let's not make it about that. If you want to talk, hang out and talk with us. If you don't, hey, you can set up a stream and drop all the F-bombs you want. That's the way you want to run your channel, my man, but not the way we do it. So back to topic. Let's get back on point. Some people who gave Fear episodes 8s and 9s, like episode 2 is too dark. Peace. Jump into a couple other topics here. So, yeah, I mean, if the picture is in front of this location and we've got, padded rooms, we've got... maybe it was just to kind of throw it out there, to show the gore. We'll go with that. But then we get a little bit of the shift change. And in the shift change, this is why I don't know what the qualifications... Well, let me throw this question out to you guys. What qualifies if you use the term filler or bottle episode? What is it that makes it that to each of you? Because I think that's, in the past, we've kind of used that to give the writers a break, maybe. Well, we got this story and they had some extra time and they just needed to get another episode in there, so it was kind of a filler episode. Didn't progress the main character storylines. Well, see, Najee, and that's the thing. It's like we've got so many different tidbits that we classify as a filler. So I wouldn't call it a filler. I've been kind of thinking about this a little bit today. Gushy in the house. Thank you so much, Gushy. Appreciate that. I would say that although this had some backstory, it also did advance the main story. And because I do think that, would you agree that Beta and Alpha are main characters in the story at this point? So even though it had a backstory, and hey, let's be honest. I mean, it was a good episode regardless of what it was. I'm just trying to get a little bit more, understanding of the criteria of what we look at. Like the Eastman episode, to me, that is like, that's a filler episode. This did a couple things. What's up, Eric? Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate that. Appreciate that super chat. This episode, I thought, advanced the story, introduced new characters, gave you a little bit of the backstory, and also finished in current time, like where Alpha is staring at Carol. So I thought it was just a good episode with a good backstory. Will the Bill. It was a backstory with the build-up for the next episode. So, Shannon M. says, not a filler, a backstory with answers that we want, a reflection of the past. See, I would agree with that. It, doesn't mean that we necessarily have to be right, but I saw it as a regular episode with a great, great storyline. Absolutely. And with those stories being simultaneously told, we've kind of, I think with Fear, here we are bringing it up again, but with Fear, they did the time shift, and let me say for me personally, I didn't have a problem with it in season 4. I know some of you did. I liked the Madison going back in time and the color and the black and white. I thought it was fresh. I thought it was creative. Once again, personal opinion. Not everybody agrees with that. But I like the element that fear did with time. And I think that's something that Angela Kang has done even more masterfully. Would you agree that Angela Kang's use of time skips has been much, much more effective to the core franchise than even Fear in season 4? Eric B says, I usually don't like backstories, but this was great. And Eric, I think that's a pretty solid consensus. That, right, Julia, it was interesting in 4. Maybe it wasn't great, but it was interesting. And then, could have been more with time skips. Maybe if they'd have kept doing a little bit more with time skips, it would have been more interesting last season. I just had a defense of Fear, and I don't want to make it right now. I'm putting down another bullet point to talk to you guys about toward the end of the stream, because I'm going to say something about Fear that's going to be unpopular, and then it's going to set the tone for the whole thing. And if you guys don't know, we are Walking Dead fans, and I know sometimes we get on the Fear topic, it doesn't seem like it. But let's talk about something we're having some good time. Let's talk about The Walking Dead, the real one. So the Halloween vibe. And notice I intentionally put this picture up there. This was my favorite picture from the entire episode. So I'm going to ask you guys a 2-part question. What was your favorite scene from last night's episode? And number 2, is there anyone here that did not like last night's episode? And it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I want to get your thoughts and I want to get your opinions in it. It may not have been for everybody. Gucci said, I'm glad Alpha and Beta did not sing. That would have been the opposite of the symphony of awesome, right? I guess we have like a lip sync battle, Alpha and Beta versus Alden and Luke. Crystal, due to the nature of the word favorite, you can only have one favorite. You can have a lot that you liked, but you can only have one favorite. So we got to put you on the spot, Singer Chick. You got to pick one, only one. Joseph says Beta reacting to Alpha killing his best friend. Touche. Please, no fear. That's my least favorite F word. Emmy, thank you. There you go. Okay, there you go, Gordon. See, you could have said fear. Roxanne, my favorite part was when Alpha and Beta were gutting the walkers. Beta said, you're different. Shannon, favorite scene was the opening scene. Walkers devour the woman, and 2 different reactions from Alpha and Lydia. Alpha acting like a walker and Lydia screaming in fear. You know what, Shane? You bring up a great point. Is I kind of watched that, but from a storyline perspective, I should have appreciated that a little bit more, because I think I was kind of like into the horror, into the gore. And then I just assume it's Lydia being a kid. But now that you remind me of it, what about, have you seen how Alpha has evolved with the walkers? How many people noticed Alpha walking and she was looking to the left, like, chomping down her teeth? She was looking up in the air, looking to the left, and she kept, I'm doing it here right now. You guys can't see me, but I'm really doing it. Like a snapping turtle. She looked exactly like a snapping turtle. Kind of snapping her teeth, right? So, to Shannon's point, that shows how Lydia has changed, and it's just, she's got her earmuffs on. And Alpha is learning all the behaviors of the dead. We got Eric Beach. Hallway scene when Beta took best friend's face. Yeah, that storyline was amazing as well. Not saying it was a callback to Jerry Maguire with the earmuffs, but the earmuffs were effective. And then as soon as it shows you that the challenges that Alpha's had to go through, Alpha is laying everything on the line to protect Lydia, and she's still learning how to be a walking snapping turtle. But she's figuring it out. And it just almost, Alpha and Beta, the founders of the Whispers, I don't want to state because I don't want you guys to accept my opinion of this. So let me change that. Sorry, I'm going to rewind it just a second. Do you feel like Alpha had a plan to set up a group or a colony? Or do you feel like after she met Beta, she got the idea to set up the Whispers? And I'll explain why that's important in a little bit. But is she kind of walking around surviving and looking to recruit? Or was she just surviving and then once she met Beta decided, hey, this is a good idea. Now I can bring people into the group. E-Beach, Gamma is stone cold. Eric, we are going to touch on Gamma in this episode. I think she is too. I know a couple weeks ago we talked about whether or not she is the most eerie whisper of the group. Beta got some points. So Julia thinks Beta's instrumental. Steph says now she has a bodyguard. It's not just about, I guess it's not just about surviving. It's about growing. Whereas before she got Beta, it was about let me live and let me protect Lydia. Now, let me show people how to live in this environment. She's getting some leadership qualities. So we're seeing Alpha's leadership develop right in front of our eyes. So, imagine, right, Derek, my daughter. So, how many, let me kind of make my, you guys know I like to make weird off-the-wall examples. How many of you sing, play an instrument, took up a hobby, or are considering taking up a new hobby? Any of those categories? That's a great point too, Shannon. Alpha saw the original group with her husband as weak and couldn't adapt to the dead. I'm going to tie that into my comment. Perfect timing with that. Okay, musicians, people love to sing, bass guitar. So, my question is, if you started today and you worked on something for 7 years, you think you'd be pretty good at it? Maybe you take voice lessons for 7 years. Maybe you hunt. Maybe shoot a gun for 7 years. You're a hunter. Maybe play an instrument for 7 years. I would argue that in 7 years, you'd be pretty good at what you do. Very good. Will the Bill. I think the episode showed that Alpha has her breakdowns and needs Beta to give her that push to be the monster. Great point. I'm going to touch on that as well. And Delaware Sasquatch, I think we found out it was Beta's idea to grow. Very interesting. So, the reason I thought this episode was another reason why I thought this episode was extremely powerful is last season we sort of had to accept everything the Whisperers were. And now that we know that they started, we have a start date of when this all began. Not at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. It's a couple years into the zombie apocalypse, but we have a start date. So we know that Alpha has been figuring it out. We saw that in the beginning scene. We saw her awkwardness. We saw Beta making the Chewbacca sound. He had to get that from somewhere, right? And that's current time. He's using that current time to recruit Guardians. So they've learned along the way. I got another super chat in here. I got Ben Stevenson. Favorite scene was Alpha. She's not like me. Over and over. Amazing acting. Favorite shot was Alpha on one side of the canyon and Carol on the other. Chills. It's funny to see the comments and the super chats tonight, because this show was a lot to a lot of different people. And I'm not convinced that Alpha's over Lydia. I could see it going in one of two directions. Alpha made the point, like, you don't know what it's like to lose a child, to Beta. Alpha also, everything that she did up to this point was for Lydia. But then again, the other direction I could see it go is Alpha had that breakdown, Ben. So watching her have that breakdown after she'd already lied to Beta and lied to the Whisperers. Like, usually we funnel things down, we get on a certain point, and we feel we can be nudged in one direction or the other. At this point, I don't know. And that's what's so cool about it. I know Yvette Nicole Brown said last night, and not to criticize Yvette Nicole Brown, but we use that word humanize. I think that's kind of like the cliche word for everything now. It's like you got to humanize a villain, or you got to humanize somebody. I don't know if I would have articulated it the same way, because I already saw some of those traits in Alpha that she was, quote, humanized. I saw she was like that, the way she reacted to Lydia whenever Lydia came out, and she's like, don't ever call me that again, slapped her. And we even saw this. She's been telling Lydia a long time not to call her mommy. She even did it last night when she was trying to make Lydia tough. So anytime Lydia has struggled with whatever weakness, and Lydia goes back to Mama, and Alpha's like, don't call me that. Don't call me that. So for 7 years, she's been telling Lydia, don't call me that. Ecom, Alpha's certified crazy, but she loves Lydia. Well, how many, and Will the Bill, you might know this, and I'm not going to make this, it's a very controversial topic, and you guys know that I do try to steer clear from controversial topics. Anything that is political, anything that is religious. There are elements, though, of a scriptural justification, and I'm not saying this to get you to agree or disagree, so please don't. But when I saw Alpha's reaction to Lydia, which is borderline abusive, there's a scriptural justification that is spare the rod, spoil the child. If anyone in the South probably knows what I'm talking about with that. And that means in some Southern Baptist religious situations that you tough love. You spank your children. And in some cases, it's borderline abusive. So that's why I don't want to, get too far into it. But Alpha's reaction to Lydia, to me, really is about, she's not like me. She needs to be like me. And if I don't abuse her, she's going to die. That's what she believes. And we don't have to agree with it to be able to observe it happening. So I do think Alpha is over the edge, but also I want to use the what would you do? And as much as I don't like to give gray area for Alpha, I like for her to be the villain. What would you do to keep your children alive in a zombie apocalypse? Let me get some of your ideas. Let me get some of your thoughts in this video. How tough would you be on your children if you thought it meant the difference between keeping them alive or them dying? Some people are going to say absolutely anything. Anything I had to. And so I'm not asking anybody to give Alpha a pass. What I'm saying is, it's easy for me to understand the stress, the pressure, her concept of what is right, even though most people would do it differently. The reason why most of us would do it differently is because we don't open a door and have to worry about a zombie coming out and eating us and our child screaming. And that's the difference. Now, having people put their babies down and cutting people's heads off and putting them on pikes for borders, yeah, that's complete whack job. But what she feels for Lydia is real. And the reason, I'm going to give a kills coin. If you can tell me the Negan example that I've given of why I know, I used this before, Negan did it in a previous scene, why is it that I know Alpha is not faking her emotions for Lydia? And then I'm going to get to Ben Stevenson's super chat to further your point. If Rick had been tougher on Carl, would he have been out and gotten bitten? Whew. That is a great, great point. And it's going to be a tough answer. This is not an easy answer to the question. And I bring this up every so often because you have to remember the characters. No, all right, I'm going to give you one more hint. Think Rick, think Negan, think Carl, and then think separately about Alpha. And if you can piece all those things together and get to my point, then you'll understand why I think the Alpha emotions for Lydia are genuine, not manufactured. Okay, I'm gonna help you guys out with this because it's something that has worked. It's something that the writers do and the actors do that is it's not always intentional. So when Rick was talking to Negan, exactly. Najee Watts got it. We're going to give Najee the first kills coin. Negan's reaction when nobody else was around showed you his real feelings for Carl. Does that make sense? When Rick's talking to him, he says, Carl's dead. Negan gets this look on his face, and he gets this different tone that now, all of a sudden, it affected him. Alpha has been sneaking away. She set up a shrine. Her emotions, when she's away from everybody else, are real emotions. She didn't set up that shrine for the Whisperers to find her. This is what the writers have written into it. Now, I still don't know the correlation if it was meant as a means to completely cut her off. This is where it kind of becomes a gray area with her. I do know up to this point where she said, to Beta, and she starts breaking all these things. Up to that point, she had a weakness for Lydia. Now, I'm not sure if she still has the weakness for Lydia. Because she was adamant with Beta, like, they cannot know. They cannot know. And he's like, they won't. But the chemistry in that scene was also incredible. There were another set of circumstances in last night's episode that I thought was really good. How did you guys feel about, there were three moments that I can recall where they actually used chanting. What did you guys think about that? I thought it was a brand new dark element, cult-like, possessed. So in addition to the visual stuff that we saw, last night, it affected a lot of our emotions. We had the table set right at the beginning with the gore and the horror, and then so you guys are focused on the gamma. What were the other two situations? Let's give away 2 more kills coins if you can tell me the other situations where the chanting was going on. So we got gamma under the belt. What about the other 2? The scene with Alpha and Beta, says Delaware. He's the first one to get that. And there was one more. And Drama King, says Lydia. The Lydia one to me. All right, so let's go with Kels. Hopefully you got the ledger working for us. The Lydia one to me was the darkest one, where Alpha said, she told her early in the episode, we're all monsters now. And Lydia, lo and behold, paints her face like she didn't want Walker guts on her. She didn't like the smell. And then we saw that Lydia was ready to make the move. And Lydia stood up to Beta as a child. She said, she's trying to save you. She gets it. Mom, I'm not afraid anymore. We're all monsters now. We're all monsters now. So when we talk about the writing of last night, to me, it was as close to a perfect episode. there were so many things that they either answered it for us, or they told it to us and then showed us why. One additional scene that I thought was very well done. When you watch these, and it was definitely a callback to old horror, whether it's, so there was one was the callback to Halloween. Certainly this scene, and this was one of my favorite. But there was also a callback for me to Friday the 13th. Maybe Halloween as well. But one thing about these old horror movies is, you know how like somebody is always pursuing somebody else? I thought they did a masterful job of this last night, where Gamma basically tells Beta like Alpha's at the old camp, and here's Beta charging once again like Jason, like Michael Myers after Alpha. But at the same time, you had Alpha looking for her lost daughter. So I thought, one, I liked both the scenes, but the fact that they did both of them at the same time, one kind of going, right, Derek, one going through the woods, like a callback to an old horror movie, and then one, peeking around the corner like, where's Lydia? Where's Lydia? Very, very well done. And some certain intent with that as well. Let's talk about Gamma and her sister a little bit. And if you guys are just joining us, do me a favor. Hit that like button. We got satellites. We got callbacks to horror. We got the introduction of the whispers when it all began. And a very, very effective storyline is going to carry over, I think, quite well into episode number 3. So Gina says, Kills, after what we saw last night, do you think Alpha really would have let the baby get eaten by the walkers? Do you think she wanted to show how much power? Gina, that baby was getting eaten by the walkers. No doubt about it. She certainly, it was at the point of no return. Alpha was not going to run over there and pick up that baby. And they didn't know that Connie was out there. So that makes it all the more dark. So what did you guys feel about the use of the satellite last night to get us into the moment, to get us into time, where in one regard, the satellite is the future and the hope for our group? I thought that was another good parallel. Maybe it wasn't intentional, but for the Alexandria group or the Oceanside group, the satellite is seen as technology. For Alpha's group, the satellite is seen as disruptive of the flow. That it's exactly the type of thing that affects them, that prevents them from recruiting, that slows them down. Just another tremendous point by the writers. So we use this comparison quite a bit. A couple seasons ago, when we knew the whispers were coming out, that where we see is like a de-evolution of alpha, she sees getting back to the animalistic instincts as evolution. Complete opposites, where they're changing, they're evolving, but the average person doesn't see it as that. So Eric super chatting. Angela Kang said the satellite represents Cold War time. And certainly, Eric, I will with Angela Kang, I know what her intent is, and I know certainly I'm not going to argue that. I love the point. I love her making that point. And maybe there's some other intent. I mean, maybe there's some things that we're going to garner from this that additional meaning to it. One other thing is the satellite the satellite better be worth something. Because if the war is inevitable, that thing just fell at the wrong place at the wrong time. They had to put out the fire. They had to cross the border. It brought them across that border. Let me kind of throw that question out there, Eric. I think it's a good point. And it's probably a philosophical stance. Is it, with so many different ideals and principles, is war inevitable? Is it impossible to solve every problem with words, with negotiations? Are there things that are going to happen, like this satellite? Is that a bigger principal issue that it just, no way around it? Ben Stevenson says, think about all who saw the satellite. Think about who all saw the satellite come down. That's true. Is it time for the Commonwealth to come in and investigate? So Shannon says, Eugene knew for some reason why the satellite was so important. Does it have a longer range for the ham radio? That is certainly above my pay grade, Shannon. I will tell you, a lot of things I am, but an expert on satellites is not my forte. But I will say that Eugenius, I think that's certainly a possibility. And I'll Google it later on to see if that's the case. Or did it possibly record either voice transmissions or video transmissions? The parts could be important, but mobilization, pockets of people, could it give us a hint of clusters or groups of people, where they might be located? Is this satellite what takes us into the future? So I'm anxious to see all of those. Angel's like, images of Rick. Yeah, you'd have to really zoom in to get an image of Rick. But, communications, locations, all of those things. And it was a Russian satellite. I think someone brought that up a little bit ago. So what would be more likely to be directed at the United States? A U.S. satellite or a Russian satellite? So maybe, there is some element of spying going on that could be useful. I mean, we know countries spy on each other. So, yeah, that would be important to see that as well. I'm going to get back to last night's episode, though, because some of these things are going to be good things to talk about, certainly later on in the season. E-Beach Super Chat and says it's our Cuban Missile Crisis next episode. Well, that certainly is a great point, that we're going to have that standoff. But, Eric, it's probably even going to be beyond that. Because this is going to be face-to-face at the border. And I got a feeling that when Alpha says, you better run, do you guys get like a fox hunt vibe? That at the end of episode 2, when Alpha was talking to Beta, where it is, she wants to kill someone in front of the pack. Your people killed our people. There will be conflict. We're always watching. So, we went from gather the Guardians, get more supplies, to Hunger Games vibe. Good point, Deborah Cox. We went from they're afraid to no. Maybe you're right, Beta. They're not afraid enough. Let's meet with them. Let's kill a few more of them. So I'm gonna get out of my character context just for one moment, though. I do have to say that I liked what Fear the Walking Dead did at the oil field, where they had John Dory up as a sniper. And if I do have a mild criticism, I haven't seen it yet, but why can't we just get Daryl up in a tree? And when Alpha comes up, can we just execute Alpha and be done with this? So, question I have for the group, and I mean this, I want to get to a couple fun questions. I mean this in full fun. Is there really a need to meet Alpha at the border at this point? Gamma comes up, says she wants to meet, and now you're just going to be face to face. It is like it's almost too fair. Like, we already know the Whispers cheat. Okay? The Whispers cheat. The Whispers decapitated some very important people. Even, the girl screaming, right? She says, The highwaymen want justice. So we know that everybody wants to do something. So if people want justice, show up about, 10 hours early, dig a pit with some spikes in it. Then when you walk up to the border, just let her fall into a pit of spikes. They're not thinking like they want to win a war. Now, I bring this up in jest, partially, to prove that our group wants blood. They prepared to fight, but they ain't barbaric. Ecom says you kind of got to go if they have a nuke, aka a herd. So, Ecom, I love that point. Because they brought up the nuke, they brought up the herd, they have the ability to do that. So, what is it going to take for the group to win? Because Alexandria has a nuke as well. So what is Alexandria's secret weapon? And I'm going to give a kills coin to the first person that can answer exactly what I think the secret weapon is. All right. First two people that got it, Kel and also Joseph Grindstaff. Several other people are getting it now. See, I don't think the secret weapon is Carol. I think Carol is a weapon, and I don't think there's anything secret about Carol's vengeance and what Carol wants to do. Negan is the secret weapon. Delaware Sasquatch. Why have the good guys not built their herd? There's another good point. Because Delaware, they're too busy forging armor and spikes and more, and they don't want to fight fire with fire. See, we've got Daryl, and we got Michonne, and we got Carol, and we got Aaron, and we got all these people who have been training. And I think the bigger theme to the show this year is going to be, if you truly want to combat evil, you've got to go to a little bit of a darker place. Negan is going to be the person that's going to convince them of that dark place. Because God knows, look, if you're not already there, if Michonne is not already there because of DJ, if the highwaymen aren't trying to assassinate, tracking her down because of Ozzy, if Carol and Ezekiel are not, come on. How many people here would let what happened to your child, what they did to Henry, how many people would live in peace knowing that that happened to your son? I certainly would not. There's no chance. Everybody in this stream would say, look, that's not living. That's not life. So they're chomping at the bit for vengeance, but they don't know how to do it. Everybody, right? I get it. All of you guys would want revenge, just like Carol wants revenge. But wanting revenge and executing a plan, two different things. And this group doesn't know how to get into the mud. This group does not know how to get dirty. And that's why I feel like Negan is the nuke. Negan does. And they've been hinting at that. This is why I also think it's important that both Angela Kang, well, actually Scott Gimple, Angela Kang, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan have all confirmed, like, Negan is always going to be Negan. If that's not your hidden clue, because we've used the words redeemed with Negan, we use the words like he's going to help out, he cares about Judith, all those things are true. But I also think it's important that they remind us that if he has to do it, he will bring it. I can tell you this. As much as maybe you don't like Negan, if Judith had the slightest bit of threat, I feel like Negan's response is going to be a stronger response than Carol or Ezekiel. Now that says a lot. It's just what we know about the character. And I know there's a certain amount that we have to accept, right? I mean, the story has to play out. But I'm a little concerned about King Ezekiel. I'm a little concerned that he has not tried to seek justice for Henry. Now, with that being said, how many people think, I agree, Shannon, it appears on the surface Ezekiel is a little bit soft, right? That's my bold prediction, is that Ezekiel knows. Well, see, here's the thing, Shannon, and you say Ezekiel doesn't want confrontation. I think Ezekiel is going to try to seek justice for Henry, and that's what's going to get him killed. And I think he knows of what Carol went through. Everybody has a calling, and I think, and a purpose. Ezekiel's sacrifice for Henry, I think, is a good story. But I still think he's going to die. He's lost Carol. He's lost his son. It's time he steps up and does something. All right, we got a couple more minutes. Wow, time flew tonight. This episode was amazing, man. Because I looked up and it was like, wow, we're 30 minutes into it. We're 58 minutes in. So, final departing ideas and thoughts. Now that we've kind of given a recap of the episode, we've looked a little bit forward into the next episode. We'll do bold predictions in the week. Closing thoughts, closing comments. Let me get a few of episode number 2. Where does this rate in your all-time Walking Dead episodes. I thought it had some great callbacks. For me, it's up there. I'm not going to say it's my favorite of all time, but I'm going to put it in my top 5. And for something that had backstories, Ben, we got to stop doing this, man. Ben does this every week. So, in closing, Julia Muse says, I want to hear your unpopular fear thoughts. Okay. Because I know there's a lot of venom out there with fear. Remember when, I think it's contextual. So remember when an album or CD or groups, when they did an album, it was a good album. Like, every song was good. So I'm going to ask the group this question. What's your favorite album of all time? Not your favorite song. What is your favorite album that had several good songs on it? And, it had like 4, 5, 6 good songs. You could listen to the whole thing. Probably something by The Wall, right? Two Hands and a Radio. Shannon M. says this is a great episode. It was enough backstory for our current villains, but it also has answers to a lot of questions to Alpha and Beta's origins. Absolutely perfect. Great comment, Shannon. Thank you for that. Tommy says Appetite for Destruction. Who Made Who? AC/DC. And see, what you're finding with some of these, Metallica, Master of Puppets. Well, Greatest Hits, Gina, is always going to have a lot of good songs. I like Live Throwing Copper, right? Lightning Crashes. All over you, all over me, the sun refutes the sky. I mean, you could listen to Throwing Copper, right? You could listen to every song on there. So, my point is, Fear was not a great album. Okay, if you're looking from that perspective, Fear had a couple hits. The CRM, that was solid. It had some interest. It had some story. But the way I've kind of accepted Fear this season is the way I look at music. I got to take, the only way I can enjoy it next season is I got to take the good stories out, and I really got to skip over a couple of those songs I didn't like. And by the time we get to the next Fear, that's what they need to do. They've got to help me with those things. Whether that's an epic exit for Morgan, whether it's the group finally stands up and they're not beat down by Jenny. I don't know how much of the Jenny thing I can watch the beatdown. But if I take it from that perspective, then I can get myself motivated for Fear next season. So, Julia, that's kind of my unpopular Fear thing, because I know it's still a sore topic with a lot of people. Like, okay. But I'm down. I love it. Jenny who? Or how about the group kill someone? All of the above. All right. Hey, with that, everybody, once again, want to make one more announcement. Ben Stevens says the Walking Dead's Metallica and the Fear is Nickelback. That is well said. Actually, that is Ben. That's up there. That's up there with very, very good super chats. Great comment. Hey, I want to thank all of you guys for being here. A great recap, good thoughts, good ideas. It's always good after a great episode to kind of get together and talk about it. And look, the only people who really died were some walkers, Gamma's sister, and Lady at the beginning. So a major character didn't die, but we saw enough cool stuff in there that really kept us focused. We are going to be back tomorrow night. We're going to take some specific Walking Dead topics and comments and drill down a little bit further. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for participating in everything that we do. I can't say it enough. You guys get here during the week, earn your Kills coins, use them on Friday night. We have a lot of fun with Freestyle Friday, and also our gaming adventure, Play Dead Live. We're doing something a little bit different. You guys got a couple minutes so I can lay a little bit of the context. If you're in a hurry, go ahead and take off. Do me a favor though, before you take off, hit the like button. If you like The Walking Dead, if you like our version of Play Dead Live, recaps talking about all the above. If you guys got a couple minutes, I'll go into a little bit of overtime and talk about what we're going to do on Friday night, because we've done scenarios, we've done PvP. Friday is going to be unique, and this is inspired by the selfish nature of our very own Tommy Man Bun McCandless. So it's an idea that I sort of came up with when I saw Tommy, some of his reactions. We're going to do something Friday night called King of the Hill, and we're going to take 8 people, and we're going to pit them up against each other, but it's going to be different. We're going to start out with the tower that you saw at the very, very beginning, and it is going to be strategy, it's going to be weapons, it's going to be each person mano, and it'll be randomly seated. So out of 8 people, we'll get people on the first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, all the way up to 8. And then the higher you go, the worse your weapons are going to be. The lower you go, the better the weapons, but the further you have to go to win. So as I said, we'll take 8 people, be randomly seated. It's going to be a lot of battles back and forth, and they're going to be winners. So whoever wins the first battle is going to get to advance to the second level. They'll have to find it, and then ultimately we're going to have a King of the Hill, which is going to be named. And we're going to give away some special acknowledgments, prizes, and some of that stuff as we get a little bit more and more into it. Some experience, and then some Play Dead Live giveaways that we're going to be adding. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys will show up. Thank you for being here tonight. Let me give some more shout outs. Patreon Army, I asked you guys to shout them out in the beginning. If you could shout them out one more time. Patreon Army, several years they've been contributing to this channel. We have a brand new group called Play Dead Live Sponsors. If you guys are interested in supporting the game or supporting the channel, there is a link down below, so check that out. We also have channel members. We've got several 6-month channel members updated. We're actually probably going to update to 1-year channel members as well. 20-something, I'll get the exact number, so thank you so much, channel members. Also, if you guys can shout out the mods, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, who are also our super fans of the month. And tonight we had a ton of super chatters as well. So let me shout out a few of the super chatters, because some really, really good, well thought out comments. So we got Zelda Faz, Gushy Goucher, Eric Beach with a lot of super chats tonight. Thank you so much. Will the Bill. We got Delaware Sasquatch, Ben Stevenson, Ecom, thank you. We also got Shannon M. So appreciate all of you guys, your comments, getting involved in the streams. Your comments do certainly make a difference, and they light up the, they change the direction, and really, really some good, well thought out stuff as well. So also, one more shout out to the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. You guys are amazing. And since we're running a little bit of overtime, let me do something I haven't done in a little while. We can't do it every stream. But can everybody here just give me a quick 999? Because I never want to forget each and every one of you that make this channel, that have helped grow this channel, that are here. You guys are participating. You're watching the ads, all of the above. So this channel is not anything without each and every one of you. So I want to say what's up to Dead Shred, also Gina Crockett, Joey the Gator, Eric Beach, Shannon M., Steph the Cuervo Queen, Viola McGowan, Tammy Heitzman, Angel Calores, thank you, Ella Smith Jr., Lynn Nesvik, Gene Alexander, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Julia Muse, Darkstar999, Angela Lewis, thank you. Natalie, appreciate you being here. I see you, Ben Stevens. Thank you so much. Ben, we have wavelengths, man. Like, we get in these streams, and then Ben I'm off on a tangent, and he's like, I know exactly where you're going with that, Kills. Crystal Singer Chick, thank you. Julie Bellamy, thank you for being here. Roxanne Dunlap, always a pleasure. Kel, appreciate you. Walking Dead Nerd, what's up, Walking Dead Nerd? Getting ready to watch Willie Nelson, but appreciate you checking in as well. On the road again, just can't wait to get on the road again. There you go. Tell Willie we said hello, Walking Dead Nerd. That's for you. I think that's the only Willie Nelson lyric that I know from anything. So if I missed you in a shout-out, I will catch you next time. We'll be back doing this again at 9:30 tomorrow night. So look forward to seeing each and every one of you here. You guys have a great evening. Talk to you soon. Peace.